everyone to another fabulous episode of Power Talks. As the experts with Powerful Women Today mentor experts Stacey Hall and and Dortha Heiss. Sorry, I was going to call you Darcy. Anyways, here we go. How to launch new products and services. So let's get started.
Empowering women on a global scale. Welcome to Powerful Women Today with Carolina Billings. Powerful Women Today is on a mission of inclusion, rewriting his story to include her story, and empowering, raising, and amplifying women's voices with professional speaking, publishing, original podcasting, and web TV. And now here's your host, the founder of Powerful Women Today, Carolina Billings.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Dortha and Stacy. And I don't know why I'm having problems with names today. Apologies. You know what it is there's new features on StreamYard, which we were talking about just before the show started. And so the buttons have moved a little, and it's just disoriented me enough. But anyways, that is, live streaming. So here we go. We are going to speak today about the type of business that carries no inventory, that is 100% reliant on the ambassador and the spokesperson for the brand. So, welcome everyone to how to launch your products and services in your coaching or professional practice. So, Stacy, you have a lot of experience when it comes to launching new products and services, also in the area of monetizing your message and sales. And Dortha, you are the founder of an organization that specializes on removing the overwhelm from founders and organizations. And so it's like the perfect combo as to, how to go about it and knowing what to charge and all of it. So welcome, ladies. Stacey, if you'd like to introduce yourself as well as you, Dortha.
I'm very happy to let everybody know that I am Stacey Hall. I have written 5 books that have all gone to #1 to support primarily women entrepreneurs in transforming them into wisdompreneurs who monetize their message, increase their income, have a greater impact because their message is going out to a wider audience, and who leave a legacy that lives on long after they're gone.
Brilliant. Thank you. Dortha?
Yes, hello. I'm Dortha Heiss, and I am the owner and founder of Pretty Smart Virtual Services, the chief overwhelm solver, and I partner with my clients to help them find solutions that work to keep them out of the crazy and overwhelm that we know that we can all get into. And we give them back some of their time so that they can do the things that they're best at in their business, which is generally speaking, income producing activities that no one else can do.
Brilliant. And I'm Carolina Billings, founder of Powerful Women Today and researcher, really. Right now, we are in the world of research and in the world of really accelerating, understanding, how to make brands really stand out and with that unique value proposition. That being said, the world of professional services is the hardest but the easiest to set up your unique value proposition. Because as the solopreneur or professional corporation or practitioner, you are the brand. So if when marketed properly, you yourself are your unique value proposition. So, Stacy, in your experience, what are the case studies or the companies that you've come across that get it from the get-go and hit the ground running?
Well, I'm I talk about a lot of them in my book, Selling from Your Comfort Zone. But when I sit, I'm not quite sure what you mean by get it, but for me, getting it is recognizing there's a distinction between marketing and sales, and that marketing comes before sales, not sales and marketing. And marketing is the building of relationships so that when we're ready to make an offer, there's trust in place already. so that when we make an offer, we know how to make the offer to people who are ready to say yes, because that's what I'm all about, is how can we prepare people to want to say yes to us rather than them being prepared to say no.
Interesting, interesting. And Dortha, you help a lot of companies from the get-go, from the
Mhm.
start. What would you say is the most common misunderstanding?
Do I have to pick just one?
The most common.
Yeah, I think, feeling like they have to have it all figured out before they can create the thing. So, they know that they have a thing inside of them, a product, a course, a book, whatever it is, but thinking that it has to be complete before they can start the process of thinking about marketing or thinking about the sales pipeline down the road. So I think that's probably one of the big misconceptions that I see a lot. It's pretty common anyway. I don't know if it's a misconception so much as what I see commonly.
Yes, and we have Stacy's fan club. We're going to show it up. So we got Liz saying, "Preach, Stacy, spot on." We've got Jackie Joy saying, "Well said, Stacy." Then we have our very own, one of our mentor experts, Jackie Joy, welcoming Liz, and Liz Welding saying hello to the ladies. So thank you, everybody,
Yeah.
for letting us know and for always being there for Stacy. So
For all of us.
yeah,
They're actually,
what I mean by do they get it, right? Is when people are starting a product, service, or launching or expanding, right? Is, you know, starting something new. There's a really good book called The E-Myth. And
yes.
it really, I don't know if all of you have had a chance to
Okay.
read it, but it's an oldie but a goodie now. For One of the things that I really appreciate in it is that when you are leaving corporate to start your own business, really, you don't know what you don't know. And that's what I mean by the people that get it, right? Because one of the questions that I get asked a lot, especially when working with mentors and we're working with coaches, one of the first things that they ask, and it's funny that they ask it because it goes to show you, your awareness, self-awareness really is, are you coachable?
Yes. Yes.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
when I say those that get it, that's what I mean. It's like, the people that come to you as the expert, the people that are paying dollars for assistance, but yet they're not ready to listen. So the ones that are, in your opinion, how can you tell? How can you tell when someone and it's not a judgment on whether the person's good or bad, right? Is a lot of times it's really that we don't know what we don't know. But in your opinion, Stacy, what are some of
Yeah.
the first signs that someone is going to be coachable and that they know, or they know enough to understand what they don't know?
What they don't know. Well, first off, thank you for bringing up the E-Myth, one of my favorite books of all time. And I had planned for 6 months before I left the corporate world to start my own business. And that was one of my tutorial guides, was the E-Myth and what I didn't know, I didn't know. So in answer to your question, when I get started chatting with somebody to do strategy sessions,
Mhm.
the first thing I can tell is if they want to give me all their excuses for why they haven't been successful up to that. Not necessarily explaining what they want to get out of the coaching sessions, because I always say, what for this to be successful, where do you want to wind up? And instead of looking forward, I get a whole bunch of stuff from the back. And when I say, is it okay if we leave that in the past and we start from here, looking forward, and they start explaining to me again why, then I pretty much am sure that they're not there for new creation. They're there maybe for justification or to be absolved of something. So that's
Mhm.
one way. And another
Mm.
way is when I hear the phrase, I already did that. I already
Mhm.
know that. Yeah, I already did that. Like, okay, let's stop for a second. So, for example, if I might say, are you sending, let's say we're on LinkedIn, are you sending connection requests? And I start to explain how to send a connection request. And I get, yeah, I've already done that. And I say, great. Would you share with me how you sent it? Because I have a particular way that I encourage people to do it. Like, I already know that. I already know that. Okay. Not coachable. Oh, Caroline, I hope that gives a couple of ideas of
It
how it's
does,
pretty easy to see
actually.
somebody not coachable.
And you know what? That is so important, that what you just said, right? Because when you're starting something new, especially at the very beginning, right? And right now we have so many people that are really considering just not returning to work. They're either being called back, or we're going through a lot of furlough, a lot of layoffs. And this whole arena of self-employment and being your own boss is so alluring, right? And I love what Liz just said. Sorry, I'm going to scroll back. Um, I Here we go. Liz is somebody who's of course one of our mentor experts
Yeah,
a recurring participant and already scheduled for some phenomenal sessions in April. She says people waste time getting ready to get ready, right? I have known people that I've known them for several years, and I swear every time I meet them or I see them, not necessarily clients, because I would not take ownership of that. But every time I see them, they're rebranding, they're rewriting, they're redoing the website, they're right? And it's just like, oh my God, like you're in the business of rebranding, right? Like maybe that's your gift. And is that feeling of exactly what Liz said, right? Is that you almost frustrate yourself in wanting perfection.
that's right.
And I see
Mhm.
that, and I don't know, I want to hear, especially from Dortha, because Dortha, you are, and I mean, we all do it, but in Dortha's case, this is her modality, right? In helping people streamline, automate, and in a lot of times we have I find new venturers have an idea of what order they would like to see things, right? Like they would like, just like we're used to hearing sales and marketing. And, one of the things that Stacy and I have chuckled at a couple of times is that, it's actually marketing and sales. Marketing comes first,
That's
and
right.
branding comes before the marketing. So there's an order that things need to occur in real world, right? So when you meet people, Dortha, and you begin to say, listen, this is what you're going to need. And infrastructure in investment, especially investment, because every time you add a piece, and I'm not even speaking about custom made solutions, I'm speaking about
Mhm.
patching up existing third app, right? Like stitching up a third app world. A lot of times, do you find people hesitant to invest in setting up the right structure from the beginning?
So I think it depends. I'll say yes and no. And I'm also wondering if I can share a quick 2-minute story, because when you
Of
just
course.
shared
That's
about
how we
the
learn.
what we don't know, we don't know. So flashback, 5 years ago when I was 18, and wink wink, and I was a contestant in the Miss Illinois pageant in the town that I was living in for college. And when I went to I did all the backstage stuff, and we're getting ready to go out for the swimsuit portion. um, there was this woman, and her friend was running around her with a thing of duct tape, with it around her chest. And I am sitting on the floor trying to put my shoes on, and I'm watching this. I'm 18 years old, okay, and I'm watching this, going, "What is happening right now?" And my mind was blown, right? And it was just so that she would be able to fit better into her swimsuit, and so that things would look, I guess, appealing or alluring or whatever. And it was that exact moment of realizing I didn't know what I did not know, which was like all of this stuff that happened behind the scenes in these kinds of pageants, that I was like, holy smokes. Well, I fast forward that to my business, because a lot of my clients come in and I'm the person with the duct tape that I'm running around helping, and they're going, oh my God, what is she doing? Like, I don't understand. And at the same time, I'm helping them find the best duct tape for them so that they look great in that dress or that swimsuit or whatever. And I know that's a big stretch, because obviously, my clients aren't in swimsuits. But I say all of that in a little bit tongue in cheek, but it's a correlation of, yes, clients definitely don't know what they don't know. And there are two it's kind of a fork in the road. I see clients who are very much willing to take my suggestions and say, okay, great. I trust you. Okay, it's $100 a month. Okay, great. I get it. Okay, we need to add that other thing in, right? Okay, so this is going to be what it's going to be. And then I also have clients who are like, nope, my coach or my somebody told me, or my friend or my somebody this that told me that this is better and it's a free solution and it will work. And I'm like, okay, but please mark my words and understand that I'm happy to implement this for you, but it's going to cost you more in the long run, because you're paying me to do it this way, and I'm telling you that there's a better way. And if you invest in this tool, it will actually do what you want it to do.
You know what that goes to? I want to expand on that, because back to the and I'm going to take a guess that this is Judy, because for some
Yes.
reason I cannot see
Yeah.
Judy's picture, but I'm starting to know her writing. And Judy says, I go one step further to educate potential clients in what they expect from me, in what I expect from them for our work to be successful. But there's something interesting along those lines that you just said, Dorotha. In one of the mistakes that I often see when people are starting out is that they work with multiple people, right? And I'm
Yep.
not saying that's necessarily wrong, but here's the thing: everybody has their own methodology that works, or you're hoping that the people that you're working with have a successful methodology, not just a successful sales pitch, right?
Right. Yep.
So in their successful methodology is often the cross sectionality of several elements. The minute that you begin to work with someone else that sends you in a different direction, you've now compromised
Yep.
the work that you have begun to do. And this is one of the things I love about our ecosystem at Powerful Women Today. All of our mentor experts, we are working as a team, as an expanded team of modalities in multi-disciplines and multi-modalities. Not one person from our network, we all complement each other. Not one person is going to send you spinning into something completely different that the other person's working with, right? And oftentimes that's why we collaborate with each other, because we're able to help. Well, this is kind of how the three of us came together, right? We found out, aside from being a mentor expert, that this is what, your genius, Dortha, which is like breaking down complex things into simple processes and that can be replicated in highly efficient. And with you, Stacy, it's in monetize what else is possible, right? From a monetization. In I'm good at creativity, in seeing like what are the trends, what else can it be? What else can it be, right? But in a complementary way. Not one person sends the other one spinning. And I see these consistently. Like you're working with a client, and we're not, I often say that we're not in the t-shirt business, although we are in a roundabout way now, but we're not in the t-shirt business in a retail perspective, that people go to the shelf, grab the finished product, go to the cash register, and boom, you got a sale, right? It's not like that in services. Like, it takes time. So
Mhm.
you could be like 2 feet away from breaking through, and then you start working with someone else, in all of that work that you've done, all that momentum that you had built, now it can set it back, right?
Yes.
So do
Yes.
you experience that, Stacy, especially early on?
Well, what I'm going to say is that this is one of the areas when I'm talking with a potential prospective client, I want to know what they've already done
Mhm.
and if they're already working with another coach. Because it is interesting to me how many people will reach out, like they made a decision to work with a coach. They're working with the coach, but they're still shopping for a coach.
Mhm.
Why? Is it because you don't like
It's
what
like
your
you
coach
found a
is saying?
husband, but you're gonna keep on looking.
Yeah, well,
There might be
it's
something better.
yeah, that's a mindset which tells me they're not
Mhm.
going to be successful. If they're always thinking there's something better, it means either they're not asking the right questions of their coach, so
Mhm,
they're not coachable. I hardly ever think, I mean, I stand in, the coach is probably wonderful.
mhm,
The person who's in front of me asking me how I coach and what I would do for them, and they already have a coach, that's somebody who is not able to commit. And that's not a client for me. And I always send them back to their coach. And I usually give them questions to be asking their coach from that point of view. Yeah.
Mhm.
for sure, for sure. And and it's you just touched on something really fundamental. And I've heard people say, especially when there's other people involved in your success, such as a husband or a partner or a parent, somebody. And I was working with this. Actually, I was not, I was working with this one client, but not in the capacity, not as a business coach. We were just working on some other side project, and she said that her husband was not happy with the coach's work. And I'm thinking, how is that possible? Because a coach is done with you and you're the person that is executing. So if your husband's not happy with the coach's work, really the husband's not happy with your work
That's right.
because you're the one executing, right? So so knowing the difference between a coach, a consultant, done for you, done with you, or teaching you how to do it yourself on your own, that is not even done with you, is fundamental, I think, for a client to understand what their role, not just what they're looking to get or how they define success. Know that a coach is not going to do the work for you. That's not what you're
Mhm.
paying for.
I often say this, and I know Dorothy knows exactly and probably says the same thing. I always tell people in an onboarding session, I'm not a massage therapist. You don't get to lay on the table and I do the work. I am here to help you get to where you want to go, and you're not sure of the steps, and I know the steps that takes to go from here to there. You have to show up. You have to do the steps. If you don't like the strategy, that's fine. You can tell me you don't like the strategy. We can either look for another strategy or release. You're going to do the work. And when somebody says to me, when a client comes to me in the next session and I say, so catch me up. What did you accomplish? I always say that. What did you accomplish?
Mhm.
Well, you told me to, oh, right, Dortha? Oh, no. Oh, no, I did not tell you to. I did not direct you. I'm not your mommy. I made suggestions of what you could do if you want to move in this strategy. Own it, but don't put it on me. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's definitely a responsibility that each member of the collaboration carries, right? So
Mhm.
it's not therapy. It's not like the coach is saying, so well, what do you think that means, right? Like it's not. Coaching is really, in a roundabout way, a bit of a hybrid between consulting and therapy, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
You're dealing in the middle where you're almost prompting. You're prompting and you're cueing the needle to move, but the moving of the needle occurs with the client. That is, otherwise you're really consulting, and the rates are quite different, done
yeah,
for you than done with you. So that being said, when someone is preparing to launch, right? And again, it's not the same solution for everybody. That's the beauty of the world we live on now, that we're now beginning to fully understand that we're all, what is it, snowflakes, all different. And what works for one may not work for the other, even if you follow the exact steps.
Mhm.
So, in your opinion, Stacy, and I hope we disagree, all of us, because that means we're looking at it from a different perspective. But from your opinion, what would you say if someone approaches you and say, "Hi, Stacy, I'm thinking of launching, a new product and service. How do you think? How do you think I need to get started? What do I need to do?"
Okay, so the first question I would ask is, what is compelling you to want to offer this product or service? Is it something within you? You have a passion for it? If you have a passion, then what's the reason for the passion? Do you feel like it's solving a problem that isn't being solved already? And in what way is it solving that problem? I'm going to be asking a lot of questions before we ever start figuring out strategy so I can understand what's motivating them and also how committed they are to the launch, because it's going to go through a series. We're going to put seeds in the ground and we're going to keep watering them, because in the beginning, well, most of the time, there aren't people waiting with bated breath for this new thing to come. So you're going to be building the audience, then sprouting, which is helping to engage with the audience, give them more information in various ways before we ever see the sprouts turn into blooms, which is, the making the money from the product or service. So we have to identify how committed are they to doing the entire process, commitment in terms of time, energy, and yes, resources of money and other activities and resources such as other people that might be required to be able to bring this to fulfillment.
Hmm. Interesting. How about you, Dorotha? Same question.
Um, I think by the time they've come to me, they're at least at some sort of they have a plan-ish, and it might be nebulous. And they have questions like, where should I host my videos? Where should I put my course? Like, what should I do with, how can I put a book up on Kindle? Those are the kinds of questions I'm getting. So generally speaking, by the time they get to me, they probably had a conversation or two with the coach, hopefully. Um, and they have some sort of an idea together, and they're looking to me to help come up with the big picture strategy, and then we create a plan around that, and then my team and I implement that plan that we've come up with, and then I'm also helping hold the vision with the client at the same time as all of that. So I think it's really kind of about looking at their specific business, because like you said, every business and business owner is different, and each person isn't going to fit into the XYZ mold of this product or this offering. And so I really like to know, okay, is it going to have modules? Is it going to be video based? Is it audio based? Is it going to be interactive? Are you having live sessions? Those are all kinds of things that I want to ask. And then I also like to know if something's going to be evergreen. Do they plan on offering it in perpetuity after they do it the first time live? These are all questions that, as I'm having the conversation, I'm thinking, okay, this program might be great for them, or this one might be really good. And it helps me kind of formulate a product stack, if you will, that will best support their needs, because, not every tool is going to have all the things that they need. So they might have to have something where there's an integration from, this one to talk to the other one to deliver the thing.
Yeah, and so that's so interesting, because although we work in the same ecosystem, we tend to deal with clients at different stages of development. So, Stacy, you tend to see from what I've seen, and although you do have clients in the full range, you do offer help to those that are green,
Yes.
just like you said, about to think I might sprout, right? And that this is very important, because if you are at that level, you really need to, which is a beautiful level. Like, I'm not, judging it in any. We all. The only place you start at the top is digging a hole, right? So we all started from like baby sprouting at some point, but
Right.
it's so important that you really go to the right coach, because there's a certain level of nurturing, there's a certain level of, you know, of of know-how, right? Of how to deal with a startup. Because I'll tell you why I'm saying that. And I tend to learn things in reverse in life, where usually things work out the first time. In that's a, you would think that's a good thing, but it isn't, because half the time I don't know what I did right? It just kind of like worked out. And then when something goes wrong, is this big surprise. Like, "Well, what do you mean? Everything's been working out for all this time." So it's funny, just the way it works. And so what happened with Powerful Women Today, and it's something I really recommend to anybody that is thinking of sprouting at some point, right? On your own, representing yourself, right? Is that by the time Powerful Women Today became a business, I had already been promoting, not business wise, but brand wise, Powerful Women Today for almost 6 years, because it was a passion project, right? So by the time I decided to monetize it, it was like just turning on a switch, because the huge amount of work that normally is the part that causes heart palpitations for people was already done, right? So if you are thinking, so this is, I don't work with startups, that's, you know, Stacy's gift and genius, and in you know, son of genius. I don't work with startups. I work with executive entrepreneurs, professional corporations, people that already have proof of concept in monetization, that are ready to accelerate. So we go fast. And that's not to say I'm right or wrong. That's just the way it works at this level, right? And in many times, people are starting at that level, so their business may be a startup, but they are not, right? So there's nuances along those lines. But what ends up happening is, if you are at any point thinking of sprouting in the future, right, or you want to hedge your bets and really start your own personal brand, especially if you work for someone else, is the part that takes the longest is the branding.
Yeah.
Is That's the part that, if you're starting your business, if you're starting your branding, starting your business, starting your marketing, and starting your monetization, brace yourself, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. It's not impossible, but it's going to be a bumpy ride. So the
Mhm.
best thing to do is always be planting the next crop, right? So if you're thinking at some point of starting your own brand, or even for your own career, if you're not even at the starting your own professional service practice, is build your brand, build your personal brand. That's what we specialize at Powerful Women Today. Because even the ladies that form our consulting firm, our management consulting firm, or our consortium, they work on their business. Because that's, I mean, I don't know how to be a psychiatrist, or I don't know how to be a, you know, all these beautiful things that they do. They work on their business. We work on their personal branding. We work in that global branding, that they are the ambassador of their brand, right? Their legacy, taking it global, taking, so people get to know them. And then it's up to them for people to get to know their products and services, right? So it's like postgraduate. You know what I mean? You've graduated, you're a business, yay. Now let's take it to the next level, right? But spend the time branding, spend the time. So if at any point you think you might want to expand into documentaries, for example, begin to share thought leadership about documentaries, even if that's not in your suite of services. Become passionate about it, immerse yourself into that world, build an audience on it, so that when you are ready to activate that, you're not starting from scratch. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Am I explaining myself?
Yes.
Mhm.
So yeah, and so the secret, and actually you, it just happens that the three of us have empowerment circles within Powerful Women today, and many of our mentor experts are with us today. I know Gina's here that has her circle, and Judy's about to launch her circle. Gina's about to launch her circle, and I know Liz and Jackie at some point will activate either their empowerment roundtable or their empowerment circle. But this is where groups like these, niche groups like these, and I didn't explain what empowerment circle is, but I will in a moment. This is why working in niche topics like the ones that Stacy, you run your actually tomorrow you're launching your podcast, understanding podcasting,
Everything podcasting. Yes.
everything broadcasting, and you also do your monetizing your message. And Dorothy, you have your connect with nature, and I have several, but the mainly is the emotional and financial independence. But working into these smaller circles, you get to test your ideas. It's like having a
Yeah.
focus group, right?
Mhm.
You
Yes.
have a peer, you get to brainstorm, you get to try things out loud. There's no consequences other than, oh, that's not going to work, or taking feedback from people, or that's not clear, or things like that, right? But working with a group of people that are almost obsessed, because I find obsession is a beautiful thing in business because it gives you the stamina to keep on going, right? When all the signs are saying no, your obsession or your drive is going to help you with your resilience going through it. So tell me about your empowerment circles, Stacy, and then Dortha. Who are they for, and why are you so passionate about them?
Okay. Well, and for those who aren't familiar with what is an empowerment circle, here at Powerful Women Today, you can think of them as kind of a cross between a class and a mastermind on a particular focused topic. And so each of the mentor experts that is a member of Powerful Women Today has the ability to host one of these circles in order to be able to provide some knowledge that we're an expert in to a larger group of folks. When we launch, it's open to the public. And then after that, you have to have a membership in Powerful Women Today in order to be able to attend. My two, one is called Monetizing Your Message, and it is various ways to be able to make money with your wisdom. And if you happen to have products and other services in addition to that, oh, wonderful, because people who come to you will also need that. But it is putting a dollar amount on what information you deliver, which
Mhm.
is usually, especially for women, the part that gets given away for free while they're trying to sell a product or a service. And so we're saying, no, that's the
You may give
valuable
too
part.
much away for free.
Say again?
That's what I find women more so than men, practitioners, give away too much for
Yes.
free. There's a
Yes.
difference between a taste, a bite, and a meal.
Yes, exactly. Like 60-minute intro sessions. Okay, maybe if you're selling a $20,000 program,
Mhm,
giving somebody an hour of your time who's pre-qualified
mhm.
so that all you're doing is really making sure the program's going to match their needs, that I could see doing. But I see people giving 1 hour consultations in exchange for a program that maybe costs $47, $97, even
Or it may
$497.
not be the right client.
And right, isn't
Right.
it, in order to be able to determine who the client is. But more than that, in the monetizing your message, we're talking about speaking on stages, creating your own opportunities for sharing your knowledge and people paying you for it, and then sponsorships, blogging, all that sort of thing. The podcast, everything podcasting is a conversation about every aspect of podcasting because it's such a huge topic on its
It's
own.
very misunderstood too.
In what way? How do you feel it's misunderstood?
Oh, is at which point you activate which of the the different dimensions of podcasting. For example, if you're starting out and you don't have an audience, having a podcast is burning more resources than the return you're going to get on investment.
You mean as a host? Yeah.
Yeah,
Being
as
a
a host.
podcast host without an
Correct.
audience
Yeah,
is
that's not
ludicrous.
well, but many do.
I didn't say they don't. I
But a
just
podcast,
it's
I don't mean
ludicrous.
a podcast. That could just be a live. That could be a, anything that is that you're like, it's like you're grabbing air. You know what I mean? You're just like going out there. So that's what I mean. Like understanding, it's very misunderstood because everybody's like, oh, get a podcast. It's like, well, but if you don't have an audience or a brand or a following, that's not how it starts, right? So at that point, it might be better to leverage other people's podcasts, right? To be
Well,
a
that's
guest.
exactly. Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
exactly.
to be a guest, you also have to have a message in
Yes.
proof of concept, proof of monetization, proof of something that it will be worth to the host's audience, right?
Exactly.
That's what I mean. That is misunderstood. Saying a podcast is like saying open a shop. Okay, well, what kind of shop? Where? When? How much? Is in so it's a strategy that spending the time understanding on how to do it right, it can be huge return on investment for what you're putting out in order to activate this particular accelerator.
Right.
So yeah,
So once a month, we'll be talking always on most likely the fourth week of the month. This is a launch, so it's open to everyone tomorrow at 3:00 Eastern time. That's the purpose of this empowerment circle, is to determine what aspect of podcasting is the right fit for you, where you're at now, and then to plan ahead what would be the next step, the next step, the next step after that.
yeah. How about you, Dortha? What about your empowerment circle? I've attended both of you, by the way. I totally get Stacy's because I'm a businesswoman and I have a passion for marketing and business. I've attended yours on nature. And first, I thought there would not be a match because I'm kind of like an indoor girl, but I was shocked. I was surprised, and I don't mean it like whoa, right? No,
No,
it's
not at
like,
all.
oh, I got a lot more out of this than I thought I was going to. So tell us about your empowerment
Mm.
circle.
Yeah, so my empowerment circle is connecting with nature to find your balance. And, one of the things that people know me really well for is getting out in nature, backpacking, hiking, snow camping, snowshoeing, all the crazy hardcore stuff, which is why I think, Carolina, you thought it was going to be maybe not so
I was
much of
just
a
here to
match.
support you.
She's like, I'm here for you. I don't want to be here, but I'm here for you. And thank you for both of you showing up and supporting that launch. The circle is really designed with the idea that we can bring nature into our homes. We can get out into nature as easily as getting out into our backyard or in our front yard. And what I want to do is give people actionable, easy ways that they can actually get themselves out of their seat at their desk and out into nature to connect, because nature is one of the most cathartic ways that we can uh, recenter, regravitate, reground, do all of the things, connecting both down and also up, spiritually, connecting with the whatever center is your power. And it's something that we've gotten away from as a society. And I feel it's kind of one of those big things that I would just scream off of roofs if people would listen. I would be that crazy person with the sign on the side of the
And
road.
you know what?
You know,
That's what it takes for a business to succeed, by the way.
yep.
And maybe tongue in cheek, but I'm telling you, unless it's like really a hobby, you're a hobbyneur or something like that, right? It does take that exactly what Doris is talking about, right? That
Yeah.
intensity.
Yep.
And therefore you must decompress
Right.
because
Yep. And
living
so,
in that zone is non-sustainable.
yes, exactly. And my goal is for people who are feeling stressed out, burned out, disconnected, doom scrolling on their phone, everything around them is, doom and gloom. I want to be the oasis in the midst of that chaos for them, to help them create their own oasis.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
You do it
So,
beautifully. If I can just say,
Thank you.
and to me, it really was. I just said, I'm going to go so that it feels like I went on a mini retreat. That's exactly what I got, an hour of just bliss.
and if you're
Thank
feeling the
you.
love here, like from all of our sisters, mentor expert sisters in the audience and with each other, this is like an extremely supportive community. It's like,
It
we
is.
really, really believe in each other's solutions, and in the fact. So I want to go full circle, because one of the criterias that I look for. And that speaks more of myself than the other person, right? Just given my background in academics and in corporate and such. And I look for qualifications. Like, it's fine and great that you want to serve in this manner, right? But I'm always thinking, errors and omission liability. It's like, what qualifies you to, enter into guiding people down this road, right? So
Hmm.
that's what I mean. Like, our businesses are so different. And it's because we meet people at different stages of the journey, right? That it becomes more of an issue. Like, I will not work with someone that's not qualified, like literally professionally educated or experientially with the receipts to prove that their methodology works. I will not work with them simply because of what I do, right? And because we co-brand and we're relying on each other and such things. But that's not to say that there's no room at Powerful Women today for people who are really starting out. That's what empowerment circles are all about.
Yeah.
So you're
Hmm.
like kind of, it's a lesser investment, it's lesser commitment, it's really meeting you where you are. And what we're really excited about in helping people launch the products and services is that, if you're at the higher level and you need to pivot, or you need to expand, or now you want to expand your value ladder so that we truly develop a freedom-based business, which is the goal, right? That's really the goal, to be able to have your business generate money on things that you don't have to touch. And it is possible. I mean, that's how you scale it. If you have to touch every dollar that's made, then you'll be exhausted, and I don't even think nature is going to cut it at that point. And really, you really need to think scalability. And the reality is that, if you are a high achiever, you might be able to carry on at least to the 500,000 mark on your own. After that, you are going to need beyond, systems and services and methodologies and coaching and renewal, right? Then you need to start hiring the experts in each of the business areas. You're no longer a generalist. That's why you see, even in big corporations, big names, right? Eventually the business gets beyond the ability of the founder.
Yeah.
And that's when you end up
Yep.
hiring, you have a board and all that jazz, right? So do we have any questions or comments from our sisters in the panel? Here's the one. I've tried to keep up with the messages. There's nothing like being in nature. Yes, absolutely. And you can bring in, so I'm going to ask you this question until a question's formulated, Dortha. I live in the city, as I said,
Hmm.
so you
Hmm.
can tell. Um, Nature comes, I'm actually in the green belt, so I do have nature. But for those that live in condos, for most of us that
Yeah.
live in condos and cities and high density kind of, places,
Hmm.
how do we bring nature in instead of us having to go to nature?
Yeah, yeah, no, it's a great question. And it's one I love talking about because it's really easy. One of the most easy ways to do it is have plants. Bring plants
Mm,
into your space, and they are living, breathing things, and you can have an energy an energy exchange. And I'm laughing. I'm looking at my mint plant that I had to transplant like a week ago. She almost died, and it was because we were gone for a few days and we turned the air down a little too low for her, and so we came back and she was very wilted on the counter, and I was like, "Oh no, I killed her." And so when I
I
took her
love
out
that
in the
it's a
garage,
her.
it is a her. She has very delicate sensibilities. And she's hilarious because I'm in the garage and I'm transplanting her into a bigger pot because Mint is a spreader, and so I wanted to give her room. So when I when I got her all transplanted, I brought her back in and I watered her and I was talking to her and I started singing "Baby Come Back." And now she's doing very well. And she's like perked up. And so
You're so funny.
but yeah, so plants are one of the easiest ways, and one of my favorite ways because they spruce up your space, and there are different plants that you can have in different areas of your home that will help lend ambiance and different things that you might need. So there are plants that you would have in your bedroom, for example, that you wouldn't necessarily have in your living room or your bathroom. And my second favorite is essential oils because they're also an easy go-to and something that you can, portably take around in your pocket even, or you can throw them in your purse or briefcase or backpack or whatever, and take them with you. So those are a couple of my
Yes, yeah.
ways.
So it's like the sense, think of the senses, right?
Hmm.
And you might be able to emulate them indoors,
Absolutely.
because in the northern part of North America, we can go on weeks without seeing the sun, right? Or
Yeah.
we can go weeks without, you know, we open the doors to let my dogs out, and they stand at the threshold going, not gonna happen. They're literally like, no. So, so being able to bring it inside, bring nature inside is huge. So we are at the top of the hour. If we were to give a takeaway for our friends that are watching us live, and those that are joining us on demand, I have to remind you that our spring issue of Powerful Women Today comes out in 2 days. And it is phenomenal, if I must say so. We always try to up ourselves one over with each issue. So, Stacey, if you were to say one walk away, one tip that somebody can implement today to get
Okay.
started.
Well, if you're thinking about starting a new program, a new course, a new activity, it would be, what is it that is unique about it? In other words, if you've researched what's going on, how is your thing? Is it going to be a book, a course, a coaching program, whatever it is? How is it unique from what's out there? Because you're seeing there's a hole that's not been filled, and you're going to be the one to fill it.
That's right. That's right. Dorotha, what about you?
Yeah, I would say I love that, Stacy. I think it's a great tip, and I also think from my perspective, when someone comes to me, I want to offer the tip of be okay with not knowing what you don't know, and be willing to invest in yourself to get the support and help that you need, and B, know that you need to get a team in place in whatever capacity, whether it's someone like myself, a coach, and like their pieces, right? And knowing that you can have that team to rally and support around you to help cheer you on and to help lift you up and carry you when you're struggling. And then also that you're going to be the one running and like dragging them at some points, right? Like you're excited because you're like, oh, let's go. And you're running just as fast as they are. Maybe you're dragging them, maybe they're dragging you, but you get the visual, right? And
Yeah.
so I think imparting the teamwork morality, the teamwork. I don't know where that came from. Pardon me, but just having the teamwork and that mentality, and being willing to embrace that it's okay not to know everything, and you don't have to be the superhero. You can take the cape off and be willing to accept and get help.
Yeah, and I would say learn to be discerning,
Mm.
right? When you are considering partnering up with a coach, a mentor, an expert, taking a course, right? Reading, like using Chat GPT. I'm blessed to be doing my dissertation on Chat GPT as an aggregate. Um, but the thing is, learn to be discerning, is just because somebody's offering a course, again, back to qualifications, what, just because you can cook doesn't mean that you're good enough to open a restaurant, or that you know how, right? So learn to know the difference between quality, value, quantity. And I think I cannot recommend enough all of the Powerful Women Today mentor experts, because they do go through a high level of standards in order to stand shoulder to shoulder, co-branding with one another. So that alone gives you comfort in the quality that they are presenting. So we are presenting. So thank you, everybody. This has been a always discussion that you walk away thinking, huh, and that is how you want to walk away. So enjoy, and we will see you next week. We start on Wednesdays at 7. So we'll post the schedule and hope you join us. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Empowering women on a global scale. This has been Powerful Women Today with Carolina Billings. To learn more about how you can join and transform your life and the lives of women everywhere with professional speaking, publishing, podcasting, and web TV, visit powerfulwomentoday.com. Remember to subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you like to listen and watch your podcasts.